Hello and welcome to Positive Mental Attitude. My name is Nick, and at the end of August 2022 I had a stroke. These videos are to tell you the story about what happened to me, tell you some of my experiences inside and out of the hospital, and about my recovery from the stroke. This is going to be another bit of a strange one. This sort of straddles the line between being in hospital and being home, and it's some of the things that you don't get told about in advance. And this is about having to park your shyness and dignity to one side. Like I say, you don't get told about this, you don't get pre-warned about it. These are just things that happen to you, and you start to realise what you need to do to get through them. Right, so the dignity side of things, I was in the hospital for 8 weeks, and for 6 of those 8 weeks I had to be hoisted into and out of bed, like an engine being taken out of a car, or a massive fish being held up to be weighed on a Florida quayside. I'm 6'4", which is 1.93, 1.94 metres. And just before I went into hospital, I was 16 stone, which is around about 100 kilos, maybe 220 pounds. So I'm not small by any stretch of the imagination. I lost 3 stone while I was in hospital, which is quite a lot to lose. I'm still a lot thinner than I was. I've never been fat, but I was quite hefty. So I understood the need to be hoisted in and out of bed. I couldn't have nurses trying to manhandle me, even having lost the weight. When you've lost half the use of half of your body and your balance is completely gone, it's just like, being completely drunk, being a dead weight. It'd be impossible to try and lift someone. So it felt a little bit undignified to begin with, but towards the end, it didn't bother me in the slightest. I knew it was there to protect the healthcare assistants, protect their health, and also health and safety, making sure that nothing was going to happen to me. So towards the end, I was just treating it like it was a glorified fairground ride. Didn't bother me. But you do have to, at the start, get over that little bit of a sort of a shock to your system. Like I say, when you're in hospital with a stroke, especially, having lost half of my body, can't use my arms, can't use my legs, can't stand up, balance gone completely, so you can't just get up and go to the bathroom. And again, it's fairly quick that you learn these things. You have to piss into a cardboard tube, into a cardboard bottle, which I had real problems with at the start. No matter how hard I tried, no matter what I got myself into, I'd end up with some back on myself. So I was constantly covered in my own piss, which is not particularly nice. But again, I knew I wasn't the only one. There was other people suffering the same. And the healthcare assistants are used to it. They know this is the kind of thing that happens to you when you can't control all of your functions and all of your body. Also the same for using a bedpan. It's a horrible thing to have to do, but you have to, it's nature. And again, you do have to park that dignity to one side. The healthcare assistants, again, it's their job to clean you up. As horrible as it seems, that is part of their job, and they are used to it. They've done it before with other people, they will do it afterwards with other people, they will do it with you. There's no judging going on, and they do try and do it in such a way that you maintain your dignity as much as possible, which is something I think we should all be grateful for with that. This also extends to being at home, which obviously I'm at home now. Very few NHS wards have heart-shaped mirrors on the wall. This used to be my sister's room. That is not my mirror, although I'm keeping it. I've got quite fond of it, so, but I didn't go out and buy one, just telling you. Anyway, the dignity at home. Today, 8 o'clock this morning, I was stood by the sink in the little bathroom downstairs, whilst a woman who must be in her early 60s pulled down my jogging bottoms and underwear, and I was stood there naked. You have to not get embarrassed or shy about that. Again, that's their job, that's what they're used to. I still have a few issues with getting washed and dressed, although I'm that far away from not needing any help at all. So it's been a long journey, but I am getting there. But you have to park that as well. But again, they're not judging you. It's not something that's to be ashamed of. It's part of the process and it's part of the recovery. So a 60-odd-year-old woman, but a flamboyantly gay man, young student-y type girls, middle-aged fellas who have been through the same thing I'm going through myself now. It's all different kind of people who come in and help you, and that's what they're there for. They're there to help you. There's no judging. But again, you have to park that little bit of shyness and your dignity just to one side. Just remember, everyone who's going through this is in the same situation as you. It can be difficult, but you have to do it. You've got no choice, otherwise you go loco. Yeah, so there's that little bit I wanted to talk about, but also, while I was still in the hospital, the first physio session I had to get hoisted out and placed on a plinth, just a little, like a flatbed plinth. And there was no leg work, there was no arm work, there was nothing like that really. My first physio sessions were all about balance. And it sounds weird, but everything comes from balance. I'm a firm believer in yin-yang, that everything should be balanced in life anyway. You know, sour and sweet, happy and sad, not too high, not too low, all that kind of stuff. But your actual centre line balance, your midline, which is what they kept shouting at me, was trying to find that balance, because if you've got that, then you're halfway there, and if you haven't, you won't be standing up anytime soon. So sitting on a plinth, and I've got 4 or 5 people around me. It's your first day of physio, and it felt like at the time half the physios in the world were there with me. They were all looking at me from different angles, protecting me from different angles. And it was like, no, you get like a newborn baby, or you get a child, a sort of not yet toddlerish, and you put them on a sofa. You have to put all kinds of cushions next to them to make sure they don't topple over. Well, it was like that. So a 49-year-old man not being able to sit up straight, and I had to have physios to stop me from sliding over. But that was the very, very start, learning that, trying to find your midline, trying to find your balance. And then from there, as things were getting better, getting a bit stronger, your core's getting stronger, you had to sit out in a stroke chair, which forces you to sit in such a position that all your core muscles are working. It got to the point where getting to stand was the next step. Well, no, not the next step, because the next step is a step, but getting to stand. And that was an amazing feeling. It sounds stupid, but standing up is so underrated. When you've not done it for weeks and weeks, you've been lying in a bed, just being able to feel the floor under your feet and a little bit of weight going through your legs and feeling tall. Like I say, I'm 6'4". I'm used to being normally higher than anyone else in the room. And then for weeks and weeks, I'm just lying down in a bed. It's weird. It plays with your head. But that first stand was amazing. And the things they were getting me to do, I couldn't understand why. It was stupid things. But getting pegs, washing pegs, and putting them on a ruler. How's that going to help me with anything? Of course it does, because it's all about getting out of balance, but trying to maintain your balance at the same time. Looking behind you, what use is that? Standing up and looking behind you. And it's all about, if you're trying to cross a road when you've just started learning to walk again, you've got to be able to look for cars and things, These are the things you don't think about. But everything they did was a little step towards the next goal. And it's just absolutely amazing. I would say the physios, especially the ones over in Southport Hospital, are lucky they were born when they were, because by rights they should be burned for witchcraft, the things that they do. They have such an ability to take people who have absolutely nothing, no movement, no ability, and then within weeks you're on your feet, you're taking little steps, little step forward, little step back, being able to move, being able to sit up in the bed and hold yourself up. It's absolutely incredible. So I would always try and support the physios, all the healthcare professionals that are in there. But the physios, what I will say, if you ever need physio, is whatever you can afford to give to them in terms of energy and commitment, you will get tenfold in return. Don't take them for granted. I realised very, very early on that the cost of physiotherapy and the cost of having one physio is a hell of a lot. I think I was looking at it because I'm now without physio for months, 2 months without it. I think I'm going to be, and it looks like home visits are about £75 for 1 hour, and that's for one person. And I was having 6 and 7 different people, and I was having so many hours during a week. That resource, if I had to pay for it, would cost a fortune, and it was there on the NHS for me. Whenever they had a spare little bit of capacity, they would come and get me because they knew I was one of the ones that would go, yeah, go on, I'll do it. If you were looking around, there'd be some people lying in bed going, oh no, I didn't really sleep well last night, or I don't feel like it today. Me, yeah, go on, I'll do it. Because I wanted to get better. So I always felt like I wanted to give 100% to them, because I know they were giving everything they had, all their experience, all their time, the qualifications, their know-how was towards giving me the best opportunity I could possibly have to overcoming this and getting back to a point where I can walk around the house now. I've got a walking stick at times that I need, but I can make my own way to the bathroom and make my own way to the kitchen to make a cup of tea. I'm not as reliant on people as I was to begin with. So any physio that you ever receive in any situation, whatever you give, you will get more in return. Make sure you commit to it completely. Don't waste their time, because you're not only wasting their time, you're wasting your own. But yeah, that was the main thing. I like the physio at home now, I'm having to do. I had 6 weeks, that's all I was given when I left the hospital. 6 weeks of funded physio. Then there's a gap until more funded physio will be put in place. But those 6 weeks having to work at home with, luckily, some of the physios that were in the hospital with me, meant that I've been able to find things around the house to utilise for doing the physio. I'd reached a plateau while I was in the hospital. There's only so much you can do within the gym setting that they've got. What I needed was to be able to learn how to walk from my bedroom here through to the living room, because I'm on the same floor as the living room and kitchen. Be able to walk from my living room through to the kitchen, through to the bathroom. Being able to eventually get upstairs to go for a shower or a bath, which I can now do. You can't practice walking upstairs in a gym, in the hospital, especially not that set of stairs. Each set of stairs in each house is a little bit different, and you have to learn according to what your circumstances are. So I spent weeks and weeks with people pulling me around bed, stretching me and showing me all kinds of things to do. So now I know what I can do on my own, and I keep pushing myself to try and get better. I just wish, I don't want to go all political, but I want to have to on this one. Just wish the NHS was funded properly. 6 weeks isn't enough for someone who's had a massive stroke. I had a brain hemorrhage and a massive stroke and a bleed on the brain. That's a hell of a lot to happen to someone, and it had such an impact on me that I needed more than 6 weeks to translate from hospital into doing it at home. So, well, no one's going to be watching this who's got any kind of power, I know, but push for it if you can. There should be more services for stroke victims. It's more re-enablement to get us back on our feet, literally. But push yourself. If you really want to get better, you will push yourself. You have to. No one else is going to do it for you. Many today I've sat there on the sofa looking at the clock, waiting for someone to turn up, because I've wanted to get stuck into physio. I've wanted to get moving. I felt a bit stiff or tight, and I wanted them to come in and get me moving. And in doing that in such a way that I'm not injuring myself or pulling something because I'm doing it wrong or doing something stupid. So I now think I'm at that point where I can recognise what I need to do and what I can't do. So I'm happy with that. But it is literally, no one else is going to come in and start doing steps for you. You have to do it. And you've got to have that little bit of something inside you to say I want to get better. I genuinely want to get better. I don't want to sit there and cry about it. I want to push myself until the point where I can't move anymore. And that, again, this is something completely off the top of my head I've just thought of now. You will not believe how tiring some of the physio is. I could get up on my feet and I'd walk around the house for an hour and there's not a problem whatsoever. 10 minutes of hand exercises, moving them, just one finger up and down, splaying them, moving a hand, that would have me asleep for 2 hours, because the amount of muscles and tendons involved in moving the fingers move is ridiculous, and it's so tiring mentally, having to think about what you're doing. You're having to retrain your brain to move things that move naturally. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's so difficult to get your head around at times, but it has to be done. And I am getting there bit by bit, but it's a bloody long road, really is, and it's hard, and it's sore still now. The weight of a dead arm pulling on a shoulder gave me a subluxation, which means it was pulling the arm bone out of the socket, and everything, all the muscles and sort of nerves around there have been damaged. So that is it's been really sore now for months, and it's going to be sore for months to come. But if I push myself through that and get to the point where I can use my left hand better as well, because it's doing me head in, if that comes back, I'll be halfway there. Anyway, push yourself. Don't feel embarrassed about anything that happens to you when you're in hospital. They are professionals, they understand what's happening to you, and they don't judge you. So that's my takeaway from that one anyway. Thanks a lot for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it or you've taken anything from it, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like if you can. That'll help me grow the channel. And drop a comment. If you've got any questions, put them in the comment section as well. And don't forget, you only get one life. Don't throw it away.